Today's Army. Learn more right after this.
I'm transferring to the University of West Georgia.
Columbia University.
Kennesaw State.
UGA.
Loyola University in Chicago.
Grambling State.
Shorter University.
I'm going to Greensboro College, and we all got our start at Georgia Highlands.
No matter where your educational journey takes you, you can get your start at Georgia Highlands College. Georgia Highlands College. Enroll, engage, excel.
Welcome to Community Watch. Greg,
Doug,
how are you?
I'm great, brother. And yourself?
It's a little chilly out there, a little windy, but you know.
We have a show for you today, though.
Really?
Yeah.
And you say that why?
Because I know you support our armed services, but I know sometimes you have to be won over. But so we gonna talk about that with some of our mentees. We're gonna talk about that.
So I'll be won over.
Well, yeah, we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the Army is, the military. I think for years people looked at the military as the last resort, but it's not. It's a lot of opportunities in the military, and so we have some people here from the Army that's going to talk about those challenges and some of those opportunities. And it's a new military versus when I was in the service. So
Now, as an ex-Navy man, are you even allowed to talk to Army people?
I make allowances,
Okay.
but I make allowances for a lot of people I talk to. But I mean,
I've noticed that.
But I mean, I love the Navy, but the military, regardless of the branch, I think is a great opportunity for a lot of young men and women. And I just think sometimes we fail to look at that in the role they play.
Well, we have two guests with us, so they'll be joining us after this short break. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back to Community Watch. We're very happy to have with us today Sergeant Payne, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And Captain Black from the U.S. Army. Welcome to the
How
show.
you doing?
Thank you for having us.
Now, I was going to say, because Greg has a military background, he's probably going to want to ask most of the questions. But really, that's the case no matter what the subject is.
Well,
yeah.
Okay.
But if you could just sort of tell me a little bit about your own reasons for getting into the Army.
Well, everybody's reason for going to the Army is different. I think that is a great thing about our country as a whole, that we have the all-volunteer armed force with less than half of the 1% of the entire population making the choice to serve in any form of the military. But everybody comes with a different reason. Everybody comes with a different focus. For me personally, I never wanted to be in the military in the first place. I joined the Army out of college with the intent of not having my parents to pay for me to go to school. They had done their work for me, and I wanted to pay them back by making sure that I took it on myself as a man to take care of my own responsibilities, and not thinking that I had enough smarts in myself to make it on a full academic scholarship at Hampton University, the mecca of HBCUs.
Oh no, Morehouse.
Oh.
Let's just correct that right now.
God.
I'm not even sure what that
No,
school
wait a minute. So not only do we have Navy, Army, but we have competing HBCUs.
I couldn't let that one go down. But go ahead, Captain Black. I apologize. Go ahead.
But it was something where I wanted to make sure I did something for myself. And for me, even though it wasn't something that I wanted to do originally, since that time it's been an adventure. It's been something that's allowed me to come into my own as a man, to take on that challenge of how do I find who I am, and now it's something that I do to turn back and give something good. While I was at Hampton, I had met a young boy by the name of Isaiah, and at 5 years old, while I was coloring in a coloring book with Isaiah, he asked me, "When are you going to jail?" He said, "My father's in jail, my uncle's in jail, my brother just got out of jail, you're going to jail, it's just a matter of time." And so for me, my service in the military is an opportunity for me to say, this is something that you can do. I am going to be successful, and I'm going to continue to achieve so that I can show people of character that you can too, and that is not my future, and that's not something that's out there for me, just to go to jail. I'm a very positive person, and you can do this as well. And that is something that the Army has allowed me to show for myself.
And what about you, Sergeant Payne?
Well, my father retired from the military, from the Army, I'm sorry. But I have a host of aunts and uncles that have also served in various branches. Pretty much, I think we've covered all of them. So I always knew that the military was something that I wanted to do, following in my father's footsteps. But unfortunately, my parents didn't really have the money set aside for college. So that was a big thing for me. I initially, like Captain Black here, wanted to go to college first and then commission later, but that wasn't the route that was, paid for me. So active duty came later. I'd actually joined the reserves out of high school. So we call it the delayed entry split option program. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, so I did that my junior year in high school. So as I often tell the kids in school that we speak with, when I came back after my basic training the summer following my junior year, I had a pretty interesting story to tell while everyone else joked around about how much fun they had at the skating rink or the movie theaters and things like that. So I went to my AIT, my Advanced Individual Training, the summer following graduation. And at that point, the reserves just wasn't enough for me. And I said, you know what, I want more. And I decided to go active duty. I've been on active duty ever since. When I first joined the Army, I came in as a human resources management specialist and then later changed my job to combat medic. And then I changed my job again to broadcast journalism. So that's what I do for the Army now, is actually telling the Army story and that of our soldiers and what we're doing. So it's been a very rewarding experience. I now am currently serving as a recruiter in the local Atlanta area. But it's been a fun ride.
What's interesting, because my story is kind of in between. Mm-hmm. Like you, I went in the delayed entry program. I knew at 16 that the only thing available for me at Somerville, Georgia was the meals. I knew I didn't want to go to college. I hated school. So at 17, my mom took me down, went down with me, and we signed up for the Navy, did the delayed entry program, DEP. And then right after high school, I graduated in June. In August, I was gone. I did my 4 years in the Navy doing Desert Storm, and then I got out, college money, then went to college. And for me, it was sort of in between, it's like it was an option that I had. And I just think so many of our students don't realize that the military is still a very viable option. But one thing I want to pick up on, Sergeant Payne, something you just said, you've changed your career 3 times? Your job 3 times within the Army?
Yeah, I have. And
see, because I think that's something most people don't realize, that you're not just, you go in day one, and that's what you have to do for the rest of your life in the military, that you can say, just like any other career, I want to do something different and take those steps. Talk a little bit about that, if y'all would, please.
Well, I think one of the great things about the Army, most people don't understand what it is that we do in the Army in the first place. Most people think that when you come into the Army, we're going to give you a rifle, we're going to give you a rucksack, send you to Iraq or Afghanistan, and have you fight your way back. There are over 150 different jobs in the United States Army. Only 10% of those have anything to do with combat operations. I love telling kids all the time, if you want to come in the military, you can come up and think about just about any job that you can do in the civilian sector. Within the Army, you have that opportunity to do it. You can be a broadcast journalist, as Sergeant Payne is. You can be a banker. You can be a lawyer, a doctor, a veterinarian. I challenge kids to come up with a job that you can't do in the United States Army. You want to design video games? That's the opportunity that's out there for you. My personal favorite, I'm a military intelligence officer. I like to tell people I'm a trained government spy. Just don't tell anybody else. And so all those opportunities are out there for you. We will provide the training. And regardless of whether you want to stay in the United States Army as a career and continue on with one of these professions, or you want to get the experience, get the leadership, the respect, all the other things that we offer in the military, and take that out and give that as a gift to the civilian sector. Those are options that are out there for you.
And like Captain Black said, I mean, there's something for everyone. I mean, we speak to so many different people, whether it's, kids in high school or just, a random person in the mall, and they have no idea what we're all about or the opportunities that are out there for them. And just as I mentioned when I was giving you a little bit of my Army story and speaking about how my parents did not have the money set aside for me to attend college, but that's something that the Army is all about. And that's something that I've been able to do while on active duty and even in the reserves, is still go to college. So education is very important. And a lot of people don't know, hey, we're going to help you pay for that. So we definitely want to make sure that we get that message out.
Well, I guess I wonder when you go out, I guess you go out to talk to students at what age? High school age? Is that generally? Primarily
high school juniors and seniors who are eligible to join. At the age of 17, they can actually join their junior year in high school.
Do you feel like that they are at an age where they really can make a life decision like that and know what they're doing?
It varies from person to person. It really does. Some of them have this very, how can I put it, I guess a fantasy world mentality about the military, and like it's, Call of Duty or some other video game system that's out there. And I'm not a gamer myself, but they have this mindset that that's what they're going to go and do, or they've, from G.I. Joe at age 5 and, in front of the cartoons on Saturday mornings, and that's what they want to do. But by the time they're, junior in high school and 17, they have a good idea of what they want to do. It's just more of a matter of us planting that seed and providing them with the information. And some are receptive to it, others are not. And we may not reach them at 16 or 17. We may reach them after a year in college when they realize that that wasn't really what they wanted to do.
Well, I would say to that question, I think it's what Dr. posed is a great question. I think that's one of the things the military offers as well, that additional time to kind of grow into who do I want to be. Because at 18 when I joined, I had no idea what I wanted to do. But I knew what I didn't want to do. I knew I didn't want to work in the mill for the rest of my life, and I knew I didn't want to go to college. And so, those are my options. And I said, no, I'm going to go to the military. I talked to my recruiters, and of course, they don't always tell you everything you want to hear. But I knew I had time. I couldn't live with my mom. At 18, you was getting out of my mom's house one way or the other. And so it gave me those 4 years to kind of grow up. And that's one thing I like about the military, is that you do have to kind of come into your own, because it's why it is a unit. You are really pushed to, you have to grow up. You have to carry your own weight. You have to do your part. And I think that's one of the things that have helped me throughout my life, is that experience, kind of forced me to be a man, so to speak. And prior to that, I don't know that anything else had really challenged me on such a mental level. Physically, yeah, but on a mental level, I don't think anything at that point had challenged me to really dig into myself mentally.
And I think that's actually a big thing that the Army offers. Our primary group is between 17 and 24, but we really try to get to people in high school. At high school age, right as you're getting ready to come out, there are so many people that are not sure exactly which way to go. It's the first time that you have to make a choice and say, how am I responsible for my life from this point forward? One of the places that we lose kids is right after high school. If you don't maintain that momentum outside of high school, you're going to be lost and not sure which way you're supposed to go. And so that period of time, it is great. Many folks think I have to go to college because that's what the party line is, and it tells you exactly what you're supposed to do. And within the Army, we are absolutely a partner with education. We want to see kids get an education, but some are not ready immediately out of high school. And so we have to be there as an option in order to give them that opportunity to grow up, to get some of that mindset of what they are going to be and who they're going to be, and be able to progress forward in a positive way.
Well, we know that all too well with the 120 kids we mentor at the college level, that everybody's not ready for college. They're not all ready.
Well, we're coming up on a break in just a few seconds here. I want to ask what I'm afraid are going to be some very basic questions, just because I don't know. So I'll do that when we get back from our break. Stay with us, though. We'll have a lot more after this.
7,000 high school students drop out every school day. That's a line of desks more than 4 miles long. We can keep students in school. Visit boostup.org and take the first step.
Welcome back to Community Watch. We're talking with Sergeant Payne and Captain Black of the U.S. Army. And Greg, of course, as usual, knows pretty much all of this already, but I'm learning.
That's how we work so well together.
Yeah, right. So when you talk to someone, say high school level, and they have a number of options apparently for if they want to be involved in the military. You mentioned the delayed entry program is one. What are the options that they have, and when they sign up, what are they committed to exactly?
Well, if we're dealing with a high school student that's a junior, they have to at least be 17 years old to be eligible to join. 17 to 35 is our age bracket, our window for enlistment eligibility, but they must also be a U.S. citizen. If they are a high school junior, they have to be on track to graduate, of course. Height and weight requirements are also a part of our standards, and I know I'm missing a bunch of stuff.
Well, one of the things that I want to point out, and this is something that you alluded to before, that we are no longer your father's military. Now, one of the things that we are trying to combat is the idea that we are a last resort. We are no longer that. One of the things that we're looking at is the Army of the future. Right now, we're coming out of Afghanistan, we're coming out of Iraq. We're no longer trying to be in the war mentality. So what is the Army that we want to have moving forward from this point? We are looking for adaptive leaders. We're looking for individuals who want to be the best of the best, the big minds that are going to be out there and be innovative in what we do with the military. So, well, in the past, people have thought, well, if I can't get into college, if I am at that last minute where I have nothing else that I can move forward with, well, then I can go to the military. We are here to help those individuals if they need help getting to the future that they're supposed to have and getting to success, but that's not who we're looking for up front. We're looking for those individuals who have something on the ball, who have the ability to take our Army from where we are right now and keep on progressing us forward as we move forward in the future. That's who we're really looking for. So we're not a last resort.
I know one of the things that I learned over the years in dealing with young men and women is that, you know, the military is very selective now. I mean, you can't have certain felonies, you can't have certain tattoos. There's a lot of things that will exclude people from joining the military, whereas before the standard was not as high, let's say.
Well, what are some of those things?
I know, I don't know about the Army, but I know when I was looking at the Navy for a young man, you know, they just don't accept people with GEDs now. They wanted like 15 hours of college credit if you had a GED. I mean, you know, when I was in school, a GED, you could have got into the service. So I don't know if it's the same for the Army, but I mean, that's a major change.
Is that the same?
There have been some recent changes to the GED acceptance for active duty and or reserves, but that's very true. And a lot of times our requirements are constantly changing. It's just dependent upon the needs of the Army at that time, to include the tattoo policy, as you mentioned. I mean, that's something that's been deterring a lot of people from joining because they're just not eligible. A lot of the younger generation now are doing a lot of ear gauging and things like that, or additional piercings and getting sleeve tattoos and things like that will disqualify them from being eligible to join. And so we try to tell a lot of the young people now to, you know, think about things that they're doing to their bodies and to make you know, wiser decisions, to think about their future, because they never know what they're going to want to do, and they could potentially permanently disqualify themselves from having the ability and the option to serve their country in the armed forces.
And along those same lines, one of those things, we care about the kids that are in this community. And so it's not just something about saying that they're going to be permanently disqualified from the Army, but we also are trying to tell them about how this is the choices that they're making are affecting their ability to live in general as a whole. The Army is a great opportunity for you to go and find success, but we want your kids to find success no matter what the means are. As a company commander, one of the saddest things that I have to do is if a kid has a police record, or if they have gotten in trouble in school, or there's some things in their record as a whole that show that they are not necessarily, well, let's call them squeaky clean coming into the military. They have to come before me, and I make the decision on whether I'm going to allow them to move forward in the process of joining the United States military. And I have had too many conversations with kids where they're generally good, smart kids, but because of the friends that they have, because of peer pressure to make certain choices, I'll say, I'm sorry, you're not a bad kid, and I know you didn't necessarily make a bad choice, but you allowed this guy that was over here that asked you to hold something steal your future away from you. And the Army is no longer a choice for you. And honestly, there's a lot of other things in their lives that aren't going to be available to them either. So I really caution kids to watch out who they are associating with and what people they're allowing to make an impact on their lives.
I think, I'm not sure if it's Pirelli. What is it again?
Colonel Pirelli.
Colonel Pirelli, he called it, even if the kids are not qualified for the military, we want them to be qualified for life.
Absolutely.
And I really like that, that this, really the qualifications they need to be in the military, really qualifications they need for life. I mean, for instance, the sleeve tattoos, what kind of jobs are you going to be able to get with those type of things? And so I think that's the message that really resounded with me is that, qualified for life, you have to start making decisions at younger ages now because the consequences are different. I mean, when I was in high school, you could have had a record and got into the service, but now that's not so much the option. So we really have to inform our young people that, the things that you may think about doing, you have to realize the consequences and the repercussion that comes with those.
Oh, absolutely. A momentary choice in this moment in time, something very small is something that's going to have a huge impact on you for the rest of your life. And those are the types of things that we're trying to get in and talk to them early and tell them, you know what, the Army is a great opportunity. We would love for you to come and talk to us. But in any case, what we want you to do is find success in life and at least be cognizant of that.
Now, Captain Black and Sergeant Payne, can y'all touch on ROTC? Because we mentor college-age kids that are in college. Some of them, come to that wall where they're not sure. They're in college, but they're not sure. Is ROTC, is it different than enlisted for as the qualification and things of that nature?
Not the qualifications to get in. We're still looking for the youngest, brightest people that we can find to be able to come on to the military and to be that driving force for the change in the military that we're looking for in the future. Now, I did go through the ROTC program at Hampton University, and it was a great opportunity. What a ROTC scholarship gives you is it gives you tuition, room, and board, depending on the school that you're going to for the room and board. But on top of being able to go to school, which is what a normal scholarship gives you, it's going to pay for your books. It's going to pay for your labs if you're going to be a nurse. On top of that, it's also going to pay you a stipend. I love going to kids and I say, what's the worst class that you never want to go to? It's usually math or social studies or science. And I say, what if I was going to pay you to go to class? What if I was going to pay you $400 a month just to show up at your classes? And that's what the Army ROTC scholarship does. $400 your freshman and sophomore year, $450 your junior year, and $500 a month just to show up to class your senior year. And I think that is a great opportunity. And you come out of college with a job, day one as a lieutenant, making around $55,000, $56,000 a year, leading soldiers, being a manager, day one after you've graduated from college. And I think that is a great opportunity.
Now, would that work with students who are in ROTC for the duration of their college? Do they have to be in it all 4 years for that to work, or?
The 4 years is the best way to get in there because they give you the opportunity to learn all the way from your MS1, which is what we call your freshman year, all the way through your MS4 year and be prepared to process out and be a lieutenant day one. You can come in and still receive a scholarship if you come and join ROTC your sophomore year. Junior year, if you come in, you wouldn't be able to get a scholarship, but you would be able to come and join the ROTC program. They would ask that you go to basic training in order to catch up with what the people in their freshman and sophomore year learned that you missed out on. And you still have the opportunity to come out as a lieutenant, as a manager of people, as a leader of men and women.
Did you?
No, I did the enlisted route.
Right, because you.
I was going.
Yeah.
I was getting out of Somerville,
Right.
and I hated college. I mean, at that time, I hated school.
You didn't know.
I hated high school.
Okay.
And to me, high school was college. It was just extended college. So I knew I didn't want any part
You
of
changed
that.
your mind later.
But the military changed that. Traveling, meeting people from around the world, and realizing how much you don't know really, changed my perspective on life. So when I came out of the military, college, I just knew if I was going to have a future, I didn't even know what college, I knew I had to go to college, because without a college degree, it just didn't seem like my future, the options were available to me. But I got that through my travels. I mean, when you meet different people from around the world and get different perspectives, it's amazing how you realize how little you really knew about the world.
Well, I wonder if that has been the case for the two of you as well. Being in the Army, has that opened up experiences you wouldn't have had otherwise?
No, absolutely. I mean, I know myself and plenty of my friends, I'm sure Captain Black as well, have traveled all over. I mean, I have one deployment under my belt to Afghanistan. I've been to, oh goodness, France and stationed in Germany, which was actually my first duty station. So out the gate, I was already traveling across the seas and just experiencing different cultures and different people, and just having a really good time. The Army totally provides that for you if you want it and if you're open to it. It was something that you mentioned about college that I did want to kind of tap into, that a lot of people don't know when we say that we're going to pay for your college. On active duty, if you do decide to do college at a later date and time, if it may not be something that you want to do outright, and that's fine. You can take your time to figure out what you're interested in and what your goals are in life, but $4,500 a year is what the Army provides for tuition assistance just to go to school. And a lot of people don't know that.
On top of your
Montgomery GI Bill, which is basically like the Army's form of a scholarship that you can use for, your secondary education even when you get out, or possibly transfer that to your dependents if you have a family. And we have a lot of applicants that come in that already have families, or may have done a little bit of college and haven't finished and things like that. So, I mean, there's a wealth of opportunity that's out there.
Well, we're coming up on our next break, a few seconds here. When we come back, we'll give you some contact information. If you want to find out more, you'll be able to. So stay with us. We'll be right back after this.
Hey everybody! Heart disease affects 1 in every 3 women in America, but you can fight back. There's no time to lose. Mothers, sisters, daughters, families, and friends, it's time to shout louder, stand stronger, and demand change.
Let's go!
To the Batmobile! Dang it.
To the invisible jet! Dang it.
Together, we can put an end to heart disease. It's time to go red for women.
I could use your help.
Yeah! Learn more from the American Heart Association at www.goredforwomen.org.
Welcome back to Community Watch. We've been talking with two representatives from the U.S. Army, Sergeant Payne and Captain Black. If someone wants more information or wants to talk to one of you, how do they do that?
Well, anyone with information can always go online to goarmy.com for more information. There's information about jobs, different opportunities, enlistment eligibility criteria, and things like that. If someone's interested, they can always contact their local recruiter wherever they're located. For us, we're located at the Chastain Meadows station, which is located in Marietta. And our contact phone number there is 770-422-4233.
Well, thank you both for being with us this week, and thank you for joining us on Community Watch. We'll see you next time.